What are some of the technical challenges you've faced in your time here at Car Sales, and how have you overcome them?
Look, like any CIO, there were plenty of challenges for me when I started the car sales role. However, one ingredient I've found at car sales is the enthusiasm of the people I was left with, and the enthusiasm of our management team, our CEO. Our CEO comes, in fact, from a development background himself, which is very interesting for me, and it's fantastic to work for him. It can sometimes be challenging because he has a development background, but nonetheless it's fantastic that he has an understanding of some of those principles. However, when I came here, there was probably a large amount of legacy code, which made changes quite difficult to make. So time to market of those changes would have been at that time probably much more challenging. Now that we've retired most of the legacy systems and we're about to retire some very soon, we're in a much better position to make changes faster. And in an online world, again, making changes faster is very important because it keeps you ahead of the curve. Projects of very large length of time in internet organizations are rare.
And being first to market is important in the online world.
Absolutely. The largest projects we've had is retiring legacy, but adding new features and new website launches, etc., are always very small, fast projects for us, and let us stay ahead of the curve. Therefore, from a business perspective, retiring some of those legacy systems has been a very good business decision.
Is continued, you talk about your people being the most important aspect in car sales. Is continued training and education a major part of your strategy here?
Look, I don't necessarily see the two completely related, and it depends on what we understand of training. We do invest in training, and we have a mix of external versus internal versus on-the-job training. And I believe in any training program that mix is critical. For one, I believe hiring for attitude is much more important rather than hiring for skill. Having said that, sometimes we have time to market constraints, therefore a minimum skill level becomes equally important. In other cases where we can be more flexible, we are. But hiring for attitude and potential, I believe, is very important. But you can't realize that potential in someone, and the attitude goes nowhere if you don't channel them in the right direction and give them the right environment as well as training. So there is we have several IT teams here, and the mix of IT teams take a lot of pride in training each other, in running training sessions internally, as well as when required, finding the need to go for external training and procuring that external training. And we've had a need for lots of external training recently, and we've certainly done that. But I feel on-the-job training and internal training is more part of your culture, and therefore lives longer with you rather than just putting people on courses.
I've always found, in my experience, a junior developer thinks they know a certain amount, and then they actually come and sit next to a senior developer who's been developing for 5 or 10 years, and that's when the learning actually starts, and they can learn from other experienced developers on the job. Is mentoring a big part of it?
Mentoring is certainly a very big part of it. In fact, Car Sales runs an internal mentoring program, and we recently changed that program to have more people involved in that rather than less. It was open to each and every one, not just the development team or the product or the IT team, but everyone across the business. So that's a really key part that you touch on.